always too forthcoming. I feel like you just have to go with your gut. And even then, I don't think that necessarily works too well either.
I think go with your gut is kind of like when I talk about my waters way too much and people get annoyed. It's the same sort of thing. It often doesn't actually hold any water.
Yeah.
Well, what? Yeah, okay. You got what I was saying. Let's jump into the draft here for game number 1.
Flip a coin you could never feel bad about, because at the end of the day...
Just take the KT logic into every series. That's what we need to do. Unless you actually have access to the script, which my license was revoked, unfortunately. I was a little bit too brazen with it the last time out. So that was taken away from me. T1 will be taking away some things themselves in the Yunara and the Jarvan, as DK going to have to ban away the Azir. We'll see whether they can sneak in a Nico ban that a lot of teams have been taking away from Carrier. Even though his win rate isn't necessarily massive, his impact is gigantic on the champion.
Yeah, so Jarvan getting banned out, and still things like Wukong open and available. Do see the Bard getting targeted away from Carrier. Obviously something that Beryl can play as well, but not want to give that over when Carrier's had so much success in it. It will be Wukong banned by T1 as well. So hammering away at the jungle pool. Pantheon is still open and available, but it's been definitely lower priority significantly when it has come to playoffs.
It has been often picked into Jarvans, though.
Yeah.
And so I do think the Jarvan ban is a bit of a masterstroke here by T1. I do really like that. And now there are a lot of things, because it feels like now the Pantheon is worth a look in as far as bans are concerned with that Jarvan removed. But the Orianna was still there, a champion that almost always gets played in game 1. And now there's a lot left up. Rumble standing out. There's a lot of things.
It's Faker's most played in round 3 to 5 is the Orianna, and also we did definitely going to appreciate this getting taken away. But it'll be the Ryze pickup for Faker. Talia is open and available as an option, but Faker definitely happy to get his hands on this. His second most played in rounds 3 to 5 in the Legend group was the Ryze, so giving some strong mid lane pressure.
It does mean that the Rumble could go over to Shiu if he does want to lock that one in. Rumble plus jungler is something that we've seen picked up fairly often. Oh, the good old Blind Trundle. Blind Trundle. Someone send someone to help Chronicler. He already had a monstrous crash out on Twitter earlier today, and this is not going to help.
Yeah, we haven't been super keen on the Blind Trundle.
No.
Being picked up obviously does make it awkward to pick tanks in the top lane, but I feel like there's a lot of picks open where you don't really need to pick a tank in the top lane.
I think that if you pick the Rumble, I like Rumble Trundle together, so that might salvage it a little bit. But that's not what they're going to do.
Early locking off the Corki coming in. So Corki obviously has been super high prio. A lot of safety with the pick. Pretty good lane, scales pretty well. But just very early to have taken that. Not give any look in really to mid and top side of Dplus. And then the Nocturne going to come through. So not want to opt for something like the Xin Zhao with the fact that you play into the Trundle. We'll go for the Nocturne that can kind of circumvent the pillar really. Doesn't need to interact that much with the Trundle in the early game. And Bessa going to come through with Doran. Not only a great pick, but also denying it from Shiwu for the whole series.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. And Doran, I think, has been our best Ambessa player, especially over the last couple of rounds of the regular season. He was just so good at this champion. And the backline access here from T1 is revolting. Basically, everyone can just go where they want and really try and target aiming here on the Corki. If he is indeed going to be playing it, could of course be Showmaker, and aiming could lock away something like a Ziggs towards that bottom side, which we know is T1 Kryptonite. Might be an option here. We'll see whether that does get banned away, as the Renekton is going to be locked in as the answer to Ambessa. It's so interesting because even in the Kesper Cup, the very beginning of the year when Ambessa was first released, Renekton was considered the option into her. Yeah. Didn't often work. I don't think it's a hard counter or anything like that, but has had a better time in the matchup. Yeah,
I do feel like Ambessa did get toned down a good amount since then, so definitely a lot more ability to shut the Ambessa down now. But Dplus now in a position where they have this Renekton, obviously strong early pressure into the Ambessa, and they also have the Trundle, so a lot of power around that top side in the early levels. I'll be interested in the fact that they haven't prioritized mid lane, so if you were set on getting like that Talia pickup, it could end up getting banned out here. It will be the Nico taken first and foremost though, away from Beryl, Corki, Nico. Obviously would be a pretty strong bot lane. You get your hands on it. Lucian taken away by Dplus here. I wonder if they do just ban away something like the Jhin from Guma.
I was thinking Jhin could be the option. With the amount of dive that they have already, you need someone that wants to follow up, but it will be the Sivir taken away instead. So obviously thinking about a different angle here. And now T1, one final ban. Will it be the Ziggs? Will it be a different support? Alistair is something very popular to be banned away from Beryl, and there it is. That one is going to hit the deck. So now, aiming, let us know. Are we putting the Corki in the mid lane, or are we going to be picking an AD carry, or are we going to be saving the whole thing until much later, as that is a Lux. So that is likely, look, I want to say likely a support option, but you don't really know, and this would be a mid lane choice. Not sure about that. Just doesn't make me feel all that much joy. As instead, will be the Cassiopeia, the classic into the Rise. Does mean that we're not going to be doing any shenanigans by putting a Ziggs towards the bottom side. It would mean that it's a lot of AD on the top side of the map, of course, as Gumayushi is going to lock away the Ziggs himself. All right, Kerry going to be taking the Poppy here at the same time as Beryl looking to see what he can do to respond to this one. And I love it because we had the whole pre-show segment set up to talk about T1 and the fact that they haven't been able to beat a Ziggs. If you can't beat him, join him. It's
such a good pick, actually, because I feel like the composition from Dplus was kind of gearing up to like, okay, you run into us, we have Trundle, we have Cassiopeia, we have Renekton, you're going to kind of get melted by this. And the Ziggs, it's like, well, fine, we just won't run into you. We'll just throw bombs at you endlessly. Cassiopeia, the way she functions as a champion is horrific to play into Ziggs, because you want them to come into you. He's never going to do that. You know, they pick the Poppy. The Nautilus makes sense as a response. In terms of the engaged supports, he's one of the ones who fares better into Poppy. But still, now you have this Ziggs Poppy who are just going to maintain distance, hold you away. And, you know, now T1 don't have to play into Ziggs.
Yeah,
we talked about how it was their 0-5 against the pick. It's now blocked for the rest of the series, as is the Ambessa. So they've denied some big picks from Dplus with this. Even if they end up losing this game, they've denied some massive tools from Dplus. And honestly, looking at how the draft is shaked out, I think they've given themselves pretty strong tools. I think they've put themselves in with a good spot. I think the Ziggs Poppy really make it difficult for Dplus to find footing. I also feel like the Cassiopeia Trundle isn't too inspiring. It's like a mid-jungle.
No.
It's a sort of composition where you just wait until you get to a point where, like, okay, the enemy team has to run at us, and hopefully we put the slows down, we control the game.
But they never have to run at you.
They never have to do it. They never have to. And you have solo laners with point-and-click CC who can kind of set up the Ziggs ult.
And you've got non-committal options as well, like the public execution. It's kind of a masterclass here from T1. Draft looking good, but let's get onto the Rift and see what happens. Okay, I don't know whether my headphones are just not working as well at cancelling the noise from outside, or whether it's just way louder in here on both sides. Lol Park kind of just erupted, but you love to see it. And this is, of course, a pivotal match. This is either Worlds or go home. Stay in the running for the LCK trophy, or just go home. As yeah, that was me. That was the live reaction to what had happened. And then I made sure that I hydrated. You guys should.
Stay hydrated, yeah.
Got to make sure you do that.
This is a sort of game where if you don't remind yourself to drink, you will just be staring at the screen with your mouth open, captivated.
Exactly. And then it goes dry, and then you won't be able to commentate, okay? And you want to be able to commentate.
Yep.
Or at least we do.
Speaking from experience.
Yeah. Can only speak for myself, but you guys might also be commentating at home. I don't know. That's a great way to practice. If you do want to be a commentator, it's totally a good idea. You don't need to be recording everything you do. Sometimes it is just about getting the reps in. But that's not what today is about. Today is about T1 or DK. Which one of these teams is going to Worlds? Will it be 7 in a row for DK? Or will it be 5 in a row for T1? And can they defend their World Championship? We mentioned already, the MSI champions, they're already there. LCK champions, they're already there. Defending World Champions still yet to make it. Oh, KT's also there for some reason.
They're just there.
They're just there. Just KTing their way there. Off the back of an incredible performance and one of the greatest series that we've ever had the pleasure of witnessing to really add some turmoil here to the LCK for 2025, as we've got a lot of action happening here. Showmaker gets Faker down below 100 health. Is looking for a bit of an angle as Faker sticking around. A little dangerous. Does have some potions to get through, but Showmaker does get the poison down. And Faker really does need to be careful. A couple of Twin Fangs and he could be dead, as we do see there's a Nocturne lurking, but yeah, level 3 Nocturne ganks, not a thing.
And you know, we have seen this matchup a good amount, the Cassiopeia into Ryze, but we haven't really seen it be this favorable. It's kind of been the matchup where, you know, you pick it because it does well later in the game. The lane can be successful, but it's been a lot more even than we've seen this. This is really Showmaker putting the hit onto Faker, which is great for Dplus, for their odds in this game.
Beryl, a bit of a wander, as Keria had left the lane for a few moments. Aiming and Beryl actually playing pretty far up here, as the hook is going to connect. Fair bit of damage onto Keria, but he dodges the fast bomb pretty nicely. As here towards the top side, we have a lot of damage being done by both of these top laners. Cannon is going to be secured, and I assume secured. Oh no! Dora not going to be able to get it. And Shiu is going to be winning that lane for now as the pillar comes down in this mid lane. Ona turns up. Flash out from Faker as Ona wants to be able to do battle with Lucid here, but there are a lot of minions and there's an angry snake. So get out of there. As an Australian, I know. Snakes, that's serious business. Just do not... They just don't risk it.
And this is the fact that Faker's already TP'd back to lane and he's in this bad a spot. I mean, it's a great gang from Lucid, forcing Oda to show up to try and help, but Faker's having a horrible time in this lane matchup. Showmaker really putting the pressure on. And considering top lane's going so well, mid lane's going so well, this is exactly the start Dplus need if they're going to find favor in this game.
Yep, and I'm really glad that you brought that up, because I think that as this game goes on, T1 have a lot of different avenues. They gave themselves outs in the draft, and I want to go back to what Wolf had already highlighted, right? He set this up, and that T1 have been picking drafts with narrow win conditions. This is not one of those drafts. I feel like you have ways back into the game with a comp like this. You can mess with vision, you can side lane if you'd like to, you can control mid-wave pretty comfortably with a Ziggs. I think they have a lot of flexibility, as Doran maybe doesn't as much here towards his bottom side, and DK I think will need to have a pretty good early game to feel comfortable in this one.
Yeah, I would definitely agree, and I think it's important that... Important that like the Renekton is having this lead, and obviously did start off with a bit of an early advantage, but now the swap has come through from T1, and Doran doing a decent job of picking up the farm there. Obviously he gets chunked out a bit, but has a lot of sustain with the biscuits, with the potions he has, so should be able to farm up on the tower. And Shiva right now being zoned out pretty heavily, but the wave is going to crash into him.
Yeah, that's a lot of minions they're going to be making their way over to him, as Ona is going to be collecting his raptors. We'll see whether he does try to contest this dragon, as Lucid is on full vision, as now Showmaker is doing once again a lot of damage to Faker. This time, flash advantage for the Cassiopeia, as Ona is going to move over vision. Dustbringer comes down, spell shields the Noxious Blast, and the flash has to be employed as Keria was making his way over. Beryl finding out exactly where Ona is.
Oh no.
I think his position is also known. Another Dustbringer comes down, as now Beryl does get spotted on that ward, does need to use that dredge line to get himself out of there, and the dragon will be given up and will reset as the flash away as Doran was making his way over. Beryl now in trouble, does manage to buffer the hook pretty nicely as Ona flashes towards him, aiming, trying to get this Nocturne out of there as a public execution. Max range from Doran, and they're able to take down Beryl for first blood.
Honestly, the buffer from Beryl was kind of insane.
Yeah.
And it looked like that could have potentially saved him, but Doran just catches him with that max range public execution.
It looked out of range. I thought it wasn't going to land.
Right on the cusp, you know, that honestly, that's karma for
it absolutely is, yeah, exactly.
You know, the amount of times you've been caught by a dredge line that looks like it shouldn't have hit, so he's on the receiving end of that.
Speaking of which though, Beryl is going to be able to make his way to lane extraordinarily quickly, and does manage to find a cute little hook onto Doran there.
But it's big because not only do they manage to pick up a kill for the Nocturne, which is an Ultimate Hunter stack, that was, by the way, a P6 Nocturne as well, which is massive, but they stall out this dragon and stop Dplus from able to pick it up. And this is a situation where they'd gone and sort of leant towards the top side, put their bot lane there, and they were sort of losing in the mid lane, and yet they managed to find this favorable play. Beryl, the dredge line buffer was great, but just catches him. Doran moving over perfectly, and the big difference maker being Doran level 6 compared to a level 4 aiming, so much more power there. And obviously that Renekton, not part of that equation.
And also Showmaker just losing his flash in the preceding play, right? So it's T1 making a play and then being able to move on to another one very, very quickly without investing extra resources, right?
Yep.
Carrier was already in the area.
Yeah, Carrier's moved down to punish Showmaker into forcing Beryl into that uncomfortable position was just a great sort of translation of pressure down the map.
Yep, very nicely done here by T1 to get themselves some control back in this game. The gold lead, not really anything to speak of just yet. And we still just have 1 kill so far, as the Grubs are going to spawn here towards this top side. Owner level 6 is going to wander over some vision. Faker does actually manage to get himself a CS advantage as well in this lane, as Lucid's going to come on over and try and punish him for it.
Honestly, this is one of the frustrating things about playing Trundle into Ryze, is when he just phase rushes and just sprints out of the pillar. Well, Doran is about to have TP.
Yeah, but he is right now locked in the bottom lane. And these Grubs are going down. Bouncing Bomb, not going to be enough to steal this one away. As 2 Grubs will be taken, it looks like a third is going to go over to DK here as well. So a little bit of extra side laning power as Mega Inferno steals it away. Never you mind. And yep, Gumayusi is pretty good at doing that.
How does he just every time? It's just such a consistent factor. And you know, even
he had a ward is probably how.
But even so, I mean, it's just always him.
Yeah,
it's always the one stealing objectives.
Why doesn't every Ziggs do that? Because they're not Gumayusi.
That's not him. They're not that guy.
Nope.
But yeah, able to steal away with the ult, able to get that 1 grub, which in the grand scheme of things isn't massive, but it does make a difference. Obviously stops Dplus from getting the whole 3 in a situation where T1 just weren't really able to contest. We saw the move up from Shiwu, kind of securing control over the area and denying it from T1. So nice little sneak away from Guma just to grab that. Does mean he is down that ultimate, and teams are posturing towards this dragon.
Yeah, Owner is looking to try and put some pressure on this Crab as Lucy's going to get slammed into the wall. There's a Paranoia as well, and Subjugate not going to be enough to save him. I'm not entirely sure what the plan was there as the Realm Warp comes out. Faker is going to make his way over, slows down Shiu here, but he is going to be okay. But it should mean that Dragon Control is well and truly there for T1.
Just a bit disrespectful, I feel like, from Lucid. It was a great stun coming out from Carrier, and then Owner like pre-ulted, and they got the vision over the wall, so as soon as Lucid flashed, he just ulted straight after him, was there to follow. It just felt like they completely read Lucid there, and there was really nothing he could do. So not only do they manage to get the kill there, they get the scuttle, they also get the dragon. It's a big influx of gold, and the objective as well for T1.
And we have to go back to what we were talking about earlier on, right? T1, this draft, very flexible, has a lot of options, as Hook is going to catch Doran once again, and even the Valkyrie damage is going to be enough. That was an overstep, and that is 1 on the board here for DK.
Yeah, a little bit disrespectful. I think another factor is that Beryl having the Spellbook Ignite, the extra damage. I think Doran not fully respecting that. He's so mobile in the Embess, I think he could maybe get away.
And bonk. Very nicely done.
Just nicely timed as well.
Yep, just said got one. And here, yeah, I don't. Lucid wanted a crab.
Yeah, gets a bit too close to the wall, and then you see the wards come over the wall before he flashes. They know where he's going to go, and Owner pre-ults, so he has it immediately ready just to fly over after him. And then here, Doran, bit of an overstep for the wave, and it's just read by Beryl extremely well. Like, he pre-fires the Q for when he's going to come in, so obviously a bit of a misplay from Doran, but also a great read from Beryl there to punish.
Yep, it was also the second time Beryl did that. Did that also towards the bottom side of the map. So, has his eye in, did also die for first blood. So, you know, we're not going to give him an entire pass for how he's feeling on the day. I think we're going to have a full game's worth of Beryl antics to really make an assessment. As Aiming, looking for some extra plates, does manage to get another one here, as the Corki is very strong. Meanwhile, here towards the bottom side, this Renekton in a bit of trouble, doing a decent job to try and keep himself alive, but it doesn't quite work, as Faker just barely survives. with like, what, double-digit health, single-digit health. He was very close to dead.
And you saw the potions ticking. That made a difference, but now Doran in trouble.
In trouble yet again, as a depth charge going to come down this time around. Will be absorbed there by the ulti, and I don't think he's going to be getting out. That's another kill going over to aiming, and both of them go into his hands. His Mega Inferno Bomb not going to be enough to save that turret, and it looks like DK will be able to get first brick in this game. It is already Feats of Warfare over to T1, so we are one apiece as far as Feats of Strength are concerned, still just battling over these objectives.
Yeah, and it does mean a massive gold lead for aiming, because he was just picking up plates in the top side while T1 were making plays on the rest of the map. It was just aiming, just whittling away at that tower consistently. Also means Beryl's picked up that redemption already, so the bot lane pretty strong for Dplus.
Yeah, we're in prison here. Onda Shu is being held at arm's length by Faker for now. Trinity Force and the Rod of Ages now complete, though. Big item spikes to come in, but let's have a look at this from Faker's perspective. As he's tanking up this turret. Whoa!
Went to 9 HP, so the potion's definitely saving him there.
No reaction, stone cold.
Yeah, and here buffers the ult with his, but then the problem is he ends up in a position where he's like, okay, I need to flash away from the damage, but he pulls away from the tower. I think he was just kind of doomed regardless there. Did his best to try and outplay, but a difficult situation.
Aiming he's storming the IKEA, man. Like, he's just got plates all over the place.
Yeah, and, you know, feels bad for the Ziggs when he's not the one getting the plates. Oh, Faker.
Yeah, Beryl making his way in, Faker gonna flash, and that was a good one because there are a lot of DK members down here. Carrier could be in trouble, though. Steadfast Presence comes down, Shiu catches him with the stun, and there is nowhere for this Poppy to go. More plates going over to DK. It's like it's a Greek wedding.
And if there's anything that's going to get Dplus family ahead in this game, it is just picking up these gold advantages, getting all these plates. Although, I mean, it's not going to be plates, but T1 will be able to pick up this top tower with the power of the Ziggs.
Oh, we're getting a bit paranoid here towards the bottom side of the map as Ona does go in, then immediately goes out.
Yeah, ends up regretting that decision when he sees the Renekton there, and the redemption comes through to dissuade. The Ziggs just instantly explode the tower, but look at the difference. 500 gold is that difference in how much was achieved from the plates there.
Yeah, so much of it going over to aiming. Like you were saying, it's almost just a 500 gold lead for the Corki in comparison to the Ziggs. Of course, Ziggs would have liked to be collecting those plates himself, but it just hasn't been how this early game has been played out here by T1. So we're going to check this one out one more time. Faker flashes away, but unfortunately, Carrier is sort of left to his lonesome.
I think there was maybe the thought process that, hey, we can Realm Warp in, we can Nocturne ult in, we can maybe defend this tower 3v4. But I think the call was made, sorry, Carrier, you're on your own, we're going to let you go. I think that was kind of the thought process of why he stayed in the tower, and they quickly just made the call that, no, we're not going to commit to that and lose more members. It's still very close in terms of gold, right? Yep. And T1 have the advantage in terms of First Dragon. No one has Feats of Strength yet fully. It's still even in that regard, so...
And we still need, like, what, 2 more objectives to be taken by either team? So Rift Herald is getting taken down very low. Beryl in position as he just gets evicted. All right, well, goodbye. Lucid comes over and steals it away, though. Never mind, there was a troll just waiting in there. It's like it's under a bridge. As we have a redemption coming down, Lucid gets all of his health bar back as the teleport comes in from Doran, and immediately he is blown up. And there is nothing that they can do about it. Highway robbery here by DK.
Lucid just able to get into the pit, I imagine from a blast cone, able to slide in, take the Herald, and then Doran as well caught out, him having an uncomfortable game, playing into the Cassiopeia, playing into the Trundle as well. Now Dplus going to be able to get a ton of value off the back of this Herald.
Yep, and takes down the outer turret in the mid lane. They're also taking the Dragon at the same time as T1 not quite finding it as Petrifying Gaze connects on to the Poppy, but Carrier is going to survive. We get a bit of a zoom in here from Jonas Strong, but not any joy going to come of that. But Lucid is going to be taking this Drake, and so that will be Feats of Strength over to DK in what feels like the blink of an eye. We were just talking about the fact that, oh, we're really far away from Feats of Strength. Well, never mind. It's actually happening right now. It's also a Cloud Soul, which is fantastic.
Yep, blast going over the wall, and they just don't have vision of him. Just slides in, ends up being a miss smite from Ona there.
Yep, he also knew that Ona had 1200 smite there as well. Really interesting stuff. Lucid playing it out very, very nicely, and then they just set up. They see the teleport coming in, and unfortunately just an optimistic teleport angle there from Doran.
Yeah.
And T1 just weren't allowed to do that, right? Because it was 5 members of DK. So it's not like T1 can go in early because they were at a man disadvantage. They probably would have lost the fight anyway. So just a little bit of a misread there, unfortunately, for Doran.
Well, they set up a trap here. I think they may have found Shiwu.
Yeah, the Crocodile has certainly been sought out as the heroic charge does come in. Public execution comes down as well. The redemption this time from Beryl is going to work, but the paranoia comes in. The flash out, he manages to get the Son as owner, overcommits for it, and now we get some knockups to come through Beryl, but the Realm Warp, and that gets them to safety, and Aiming is taking an inner turret in the mid lane.
This is what Ziggs is supposed to do, you know, just the tower killer, but Aiming has just been playing tower destruction duty this whole game, getting plates for days, getting towers for days, and now Doran in trouble.
Oh, another hook gonna connect. Beryl's anchor is magnetized to Doran today.
Doran is not having a good time. 0, 4, and 2 on this Ambessa. He's just being bullied out since the early game. The only Fed member on the side of T1 is Owner, and he's just struggling to make any headway, diving in to get blown up. And another turret going over to the side of Dplus. That's their 4th of the game. And control heavily in their favor.
And we've been talking about pendulums and things going back and forth. This has been some massive swings in both directions over the last few minutes. But let's check this out one more time, as they did manage to get Shiwu, that's true, but the amount of time it took and the investment was just too large.
Yeah, the fact that Owner has to flash at the end to finish him because Shiwu flashed out of the ult.
Shiwu once again in trouble here. Doesn't have the Dominus and is going to have to try and get himself over this wall. Yeah, not going to happen. And Mega Inferno Bomb was going to be there to confirm the kill. Unfortunately, Gamushi was unable to get that because he was dead too fast.
Yeah, well, I will say T1 are trying to make use of these proactive sort of global tools. I mean, they didn't have to use them there, but trying to find these picks onto Shiwu. They have the Nocturne ultimate. If they can just keep finding picks, it is definitely a way back into this game for the deficit they have.
Certainly is. I'm just looking at the... Oh, Beryl. Not going to quite find the cannon there. But Showmaker is 4-0-0.
He's
on this cap. He's a very large snake. I don't know what are the ones, like anacondas get quite large.
Yeah.
A lot of pythons.
Pythons pretty
quite big. Yeah. Maybe he's one of those. This Cassiopeia is very, very scary. Owner is also pretty scary. And that is why the Crocodile got feared.
Yeah, the point-and-click CC, hard to deal with, especially if you're in a 1v2 situation. Now Dplus playing aggressively in the enemy jungle here.
Lucid has been not afraid.
Yes, very not afraid on this Trundle. And all in all, we have got some big spikes. So Aiming has the 2-item spike for Corki, which is pretty massive. Showmaker approaching that Rod of Ages being fully stacked. I mean, Fake is pretty on par in terms of items there, but Guma a decent amount behind. You know, going for that Seraph second, still a while away from that.
Faker does have the boots advantage though. Had to do it. You know, you have to. Every time there's a Cassiopeia in the game, you have to do it. That's how it works.
Going for the Horizon focus second, so just sitting on the tier. I actually feel like the Seraph second with the Blackfire Torch is pretty okay. You get a lot of AP from it. With like the double mana item.
I really do like Blackfire Torch, so I'm already okay with it for that reason, as now Faker is looking to get himself out with the Realm Warp, and he does! Chomp not going to be enough.
Yeah, flashes away from the Pillar Knockup because that would have stopped him from able to Realm Warp, so just survives that. But it's still a big win for Dplus, getting the Flash.
Flash and Realm Warp, big deal. But the Otacon, I don't think they're going to attempt it without getting a little bit more than that. As Showmaker is going back home, we'll see whether that's 3 items done for the Cassiopeia. That would be a huge deal. Not quite there yet, but getting pretty close. Looks like Cosmic Drive going to be coming in pretty soon. It's going to have a massive amount of AP. As DK will be able to take their red buff. Lucid and Aiming going to have that. Aiming is just, he's been gold kinging.
He really has.
Like, I feel like he felt like his title was going to get taken away.
Yeah.
And he's like, I need all of the money, all of the time stat, I think is what he said.
It's it's fantastic when you're on a Corki, and a Corki is so strong, but it also has the sort of caveat that he really needs to play with a lot of responsibility. And we think back to that Smolder game, obviously Corki, you have the Valkyrie, you should be able to play and operate at a decent range. If you misplay and you get caught, it's so much gold lost for the team.
Oh, that flap. Oh, it was not. I didn't need reminding. Didn't need reminding.
I think aiming needs to have that in mind and think,
yes,
don't do
he
that.
needs to be reminded of that.
Don't do that.
But no one else needs to be reminded of that. Second Dragon comes through here for DK. As Otacon has been started. Some vision is still here, though, for T1. They're teleporting in. And the Zig's already here. Doran going back first before he decides to teleport over. As DK just back away. They get the teleport. And they... Wait. DK just making a measured decision?
Yeah, this is a good play as well. I mean, they really would have loved to get Doran's TP. I think expending Guma's TP isn't that big of a deal in comparison to being the top laner's TP. But Dplus just pull away. They're like, cool, we got what we wanted out of the play. And it also pulls T1 heavily over to this side of the map. So it'll steal away some camps, push a wave in mid.
It does mean this full wave is crashing on this inner turret on the top side of the map, so that is money sort of going to the wayside. Thanks, Jonas Strong, for hopping on over there. And no cannon up there, so all of these minions are just going to go away.
Yeah, so some pros and cons, definitely, on this situation.
I think losing Otacon could have been a big deal, though. So understandable they are going to be playing for that one. And also, they managed to get the Drake at the same time, so understandable trade-offs. You can see the gold didn't actually move towards T1 after said play.
I think as well the movement speed from Cloud's also massive in a game like this where you are worried about the range of the Ziggs and sort of get on top of him.
It's pretty good for aiming as well if they manage to get the soul, because you get to activate a lot of movement speed all the time.
Yeah.
Your ultimate doesn't quite have a cooldown.
They're just going to start it again.
Okay. See how it does work out as Gumishi throws a big old book at the Otacon. But at the moment, it looks like it's just kind of helping. Redemption comes down. Showmaker comes in. He's a lot of DPS represented here for DK, but he's not hitting the Otacon right now. They're looking for a turn. Miasma comes in. Another hook comes down as Doran has to flash away. He's been subjugated as well. And they look for the Crocodile. He slices, dices, and gets himself out of there. As Shears still looking a little worse for wear, but not quite as bad as Beryl, who is basically out of this fight completely. T1 take control of the Otacon. Lucid trying to get over there as Beryl finds another hook onto Doran. The petrifying gaze as well onto Faker. They've taken 2 kills, but it is the Otacon secured by T1. Now can they get out of there? That's the big question. As DK, it's a bit of a sacrifice to give it away if they're not able to get a little bit more. As the pillar will come through pretty soon here from Lucid, and Ona is not getting out of this one. Aiming even able to come over and pick up the kill with the Gatling gun, and DK, that is a big lead now as far as money.
A lot of gold picked up from those 3 kills. Oh, we do have Baron spawning in 20, but that timers, I mean, they got Ona latest. That's the big takeaway. Yeah. They have so much DPS in the Baron. They could just probably do it on spawn.
And a lot of TPs have been used, right? So Faker is going to be respawning. Doran's going to be respawning. No teleports.
These TP spots from Doran have just not been working out. I think needs to take a safer angle with these. We see it's a fight on 2 fronts. They are just going to do Baron spawn, and I think likely we'll see if actually T1 can contest it.
I mean, there is a Cloud Rift, as we're checking out this replay. In the meantime, battle on 2 fronts. DK decided that they're not going to be taking the Otacon, as this Baron will just go to DK. There is nothing T1 can do about it. Mega Inferno Bomb not stealing it this time, because Lucid does have Smite for this purple monster.
The amount of DPS on that neutral really making... Oh, Shiwu. Just not flash.
Gonna get Realm Warp done, and will get interrupted there by the Steadfast Presence. Still there's a fair bit of health bar to get through, but the Satchel will hold him in place and takes down the Crocodile. A cheeky one back, and that will actually deter DK and put a little bit of a stopper in this Baron push.
Won't be able to get the tower mid, though. You can see Guma very low with no flash. Didn't want to hang around and potentially get punished for staying there too long. So it's a nice pick from T1, but it's a very small win on the back of some huge hits that Dplus applied to them.
Yep. Still, the Rebel Baron power play sitting at only 1,000 gold or something like that right now. So T1 have done a decent job at making sure they don't get too far ahead. Remember, you get about 1,500 just by taking the thing. And so being able to get that kill onto Shiu really helping them out there, as we're going to check it out in the replay.
Yeah, I love that we get a Steadfast Presence before the Realm Warp, so he's obviously going to dash immediately. It's already up to block it when he arrives.
He's also incentivized to wait for them to turn up before he presses the button, because otherwise he can't dice.
Yeah,
so it makes a whole lot of sense when it's Renekton for that one to work, as Owner is going to get a nice spell shield here, as Beryl is throwing out anchors all over the place, as Carrier very annoyed by that big old trophy in his way.
Yeah, a little spooky, but able to...
He's pretty used to trophies at this point, so he's not too worried about it, I don't think. Still, that one was very annoyingly placed.
I mean, aiming is just so strong now. Approaching that Infinity Edge, 4th item.
He's almost their gold lead.
Yeah.
Like, alone. As now Carrier is in a lot of trouble. That trophy is just pesky.
Not sure the angle he was really going for there. Just super overextended. Potentially looking for a flank and just gets instantly exploded. Doran doing pretty good into Shu specifically, but he's got friends.
Yeah, he's got a lot of buddies, and the public execution is going to miss. There are so many things on the ground, and the turret just evaporates. Aiming looked at it, and it just exploded. Beryl going to make his way over, and I think that's the base that's going to get broken here on this push. That Rebel Baron power play that I was telling you was quite low is now obscenely large. 4,000 is the note of that one, and that means that they have a 7.5k gold lead.
T1 kind of just crumbling. You know, this could have been a Baron, you could have stalled out, right? You have the Ziggs, a great champion for mitigating the pressure, and...
Okay. Well, that is a bit of a...
Oh, they're wanting to look for they desperately want this mid tower to go down, but there's members of Dplus there to defend it, so not really going to be able to achieve too much. And now, Uma does have the satchel again.
Yeah, another trophy does go down here from Lucid.
But yeah, I think T1 just kind of dropping the ball a bit and giving Dplus way more than I think they otherwise could have gotten on the back of that Baron push. Now a 7,000 gold lead.
And Soul Point now to be picked up from for DK as well.
Aiming level 16, going to be able to recall and pick up Infinity Edge.
Oh, God.
He is just going to be doing so much damage.
That is kind of obscene. 4-item spike here for the Corki when he does manage to lock that one down. And Gumayusi does have 3 items complete, but none of them are really those items that make you go, oh, now I'm doing the damage. It's not a death cap or things like that.
Yeah.
Does have the Void Staff, so can get through some of the magic resist, but there's not a whole lot of that has been built up, and he really wants to be hitting squishies. As there's that IE that we were talking about. Aiming really has just been farming all game, and he is just so strong.
You have like the, I forgot the name of it, but is it the Verdant Barrier?
Yep.
Yep, you have that on Showmaker. You have the upgraded Merc Treads on Aiming. So it feels like it's going to be even harder for like Faker and Guma to get the damage off onto those members. Like, there's a lot of Merc Treads across the board. Yeah. Dplus. The only person who doesn't have Merc Treads is Showmaker.
And he can't build them.
Yeah.
It's very unfortunate.
But a lot of them upgraded as well. And the AD damage, you know, Ona's not doing that much AD damage. I mean, he's quite fed, but it's hard to spread it as Nocturne. And Doran is 0-6.
Yeah, he's just eating anchors.
Yeah,
As Paranoia comes down, we've got a Realm Warp to join him in here as they look for aiming, but he just gets himself out. And Beryl is going to vacate as well as Showmaker flashes for it. Lucid dives in on top, and the Nocturne and Ziggs immediately go down. Kerry gets caught out, and this game, ladies and gentlemen, is over. Faker is the last man standing. Teleports come in as DK, it's their turn for the jump scare. And now they will take down another in here. They're going to take down some Nexus turrets as well. And DK in a classic DK game 1 are going to be 1-0 in this series.
T1 try and find a way back in. They look for aiming, but this time he holds strong. 0 deaths in this game. 9-0-3, that early Corki pick coming up huge. And Dplus will go 1-0 up in this series.
Oh, man. That was... I mean, I was going to say dominance. It was back and forth at the beginning. But as soon as that Otacon play happened, DK just took control and never let go.